Yeah, there we go. This was without a doubt. I did not make it my rosebud, obviously, because I want to talk about it here. Because this was the biggest 12-6 I've ever seen get thrown at me and have zero idea. We mentioned Okada before this man,
Mm-hmm.
joking or not. This was the last person
Yeah.
I thought would be the man behind the haikus, whatever the
Haikus. Yeah.
haikus. Uh, it was Shawn Spears, and if you're like, who's Shawn Spears, the AEW guy? Well, you also might remember him as being the perfect 10. Ty Dillinger returns, debuts, whatever you want to call it. He's back in WWE, and he attacked Ridge Holland, which that was a weird segment. That's a lemon, I would say, of the week, because it was Lyra and Tatum Paxley announcing that they're gonna go after the tag team titles. Which great, okay, but then Ridge Holland interrupted them, and I'm not gonna lie, I was playing NHL or whatever with my friends, and I had it on, and I was tuning in, but I didn't have the sound on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just him talking, like, what the hell is going on? Like,
It's
why are you
Rich.
talking? And I can pretty much sum up, the peeps in the comments can probably uh verify this for me, but he probably went on about Gallus, I would assume, and how he took them out or whatever that feud is done, and how he wants some new, something new or whatever, and Ava's not like I just I get I don't I'm not into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um but what I am into is Shawn Spears coming at you with a chair. Yes, like that is what I mean.
So there was a couple things for me that I thought based on this. One, I thought it was pretty cool that I'm not saying that he's, a huge name that people are extremely excited about returning or debuting. But I do appreciate how well they kept this a secret, because I don't think anybody had any idea that it was going to be him. I mean, even when his voice started reading the haikus, like, no one reacted because he doesn't have like a super identifiable voice. So
Yeah,
it's like people were still like, oh my god. And then it's almost like they had a delayed reaction when they saw him, because it was like, wait, what? Because he wasn't somebody that I ever thought would come back to WWE just based off of
yeah.
his first run. And then of course his wife Cassie, aka um
Peyton Royce.
Peyton Royce, is pregnant. She's with their second baby, so it's like they have a lot going on. It makes sense that he's in NXT though for that. But yeah, so I thought that was cool, and it gave me some sort of faith and maybe they can do a better job with surprises like that in the future, like keeping it under wraps. But then also my other immediate thought was, after we saw confirmation of it, he is back as Shawn Spears. So to me, that's really cool. And we talked about how would they do this with Matt Cardona, because he was Zack
He's
Ryder
the next
for,
domino.
he was like,
He's next.
he was around for 10 plus years as Zack Ryder. Like, how do they bring him back but don't have him as Zack Ryder? Here you go. This is exactly how you do it. Because we were trying to figure it out. So this is like the first example of them being able to do that. And I don't mean that Matt would have to go to NXT, but people are becoming more identifiable as themselves than their names. And so it's like Shawn didn't have to come back as Ty Dillinger. First of all, it's a horrific name, but
Terrible.
people know who he is because he's been able to make himself, his own identity outside of Ty Dillinger. So it's like it's okay for him to come back with his name. And I think the same can be said about Matt Cardona. So it's pretty cool that we're like, okay, now that we're going to see it go through and people don't care, like, oh, what was his name and why is he not that name? No one's going to care if Matt Cardona comes back through the doors and is like, I'm Matt Cardona. Like, no one's going to take issue with
No.
the fact that he's no longer Zack Ryder. So that immediately stood out to me because, Chelsea has said it's not a matter of if Matt comes to WWE, it's a matter of when. So now we know they're not afraid to bring former talent back and allow them to use different names or their real name. So I thought that was pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm so happy that we're doing that. I'm so happy we're out of this BS, like, "No, it's a different person!"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well,
no.
like, what they did when Cody first came back,
Oh, that was
like,
bad.
"He's
That
been
was
out of wrestling for 6 years, brother." Okay. Like, stop. Like, we barely wanted to acknowledge that he was Stardust. Like, we were supposed to pretend we didn't know that Cody Rhodes was Stardust. Like, come on.
Speaking of Stardust, he had a banger theme.
Yeah.
It was a banger theme song.
Yes,
There's
he
a
did.
lot of good ones like
He
that.
was very dedicated to that character too.
Props to him.